Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Central New York Area Labor Federation, AFL-CIO interview with the Congressman of the 22nd District of the State of New York, Congressman Anthony Brindisi. Congressman, welcome. You represent four of our 6 labor councils are within your district, and we're really proud to not only endorse you this second time, but also to continue our working relationship. We're going to start tonight with President Mike Dundon, who is from the Laborers Union 785 in Binghamton, and he is the president of the Broome Tioga Labor Council. Mike?
Well, thank you, Anne Marie, for introducing me and for everybody that's watching today. So Congressman, you worked with both parties to pass 5 COVID relief bills already. With Broome County's recent uptick in COVID cases, what are you doing as our federal representative to deliver results for us?
Well, thanks, Mike, and I appreciate that question. I want to just say hello to everyone on the call tonight. I'm proud to be with the fine men and women of organized labor. And your question is very timely, Mike, because we're facing a crisis here in our country. We have a health crisis and an economic crisis, and I'm very proud that we were able to come together to pass 5 bipartisan bills, which the president signed into law to help provide relief to fight the health crisis and also provide funding to help stimulate our economy. I worry if we did not pass those bills where we would be today, I think we would be in a worse position than we are right now. But what's very clear is that if we don't act very soon on another stimulus package, then the economic impact felt in districts like ours is going to be great. And we need to help particularly our state and localities right now who are facing devastating cuts because they're seeing dwindling state aid and you're seeing loss of revenue at the county, city, town, and school district level. So what we need in another COVID-19 relief package is we need a healthy dose of state and local funding. I don't want to see localities laying off public servants. These men and women are the people who were on the front line during the pandemic, keeping our economy going, fighting back against this public health crisis. And it would be a shame to see public servants losing their jobs now because the state is cutting back and the localities are cutting back. So New York was the epicenter of this pandemic. It may have been centered in New York City, but we all had to prepare for it, and we're all doing our part now. And we're all seeing the expense and the loss of revenue because of the coronavirus. So we need a COVID-19 relief package. I'm pushing both sides to come together and compromise here. My own side, as well as the White House and the leaders in the Senate. Unfortunately, it's the leaders in the Senate that have been very resistant to the state and local funding piece. They've said it's a blue state bailout, which I think is absurd. No. We are all Americans first, and I don't care if it's a hurricane down in the Gulf Coast or tornadoes in the Midwest or wildfires out west. In our time of need, we should be there for our fellow Americans, and we need the help here in New York right now before we see major cuts to public servants across the board.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Next, we have President Casey Walpole, who comes from CSEA. She's a CSEA member, but she's the president of the Oswego Labor Council, and she has a question for you.
Hey, thanks. Anthony, as your time in Congress and you traveled around Oswego County, what's your favorite time in Oswego County? What was the thing that impressed you most?
Well, I've had it's funny. I say every time I go to Oswego County, I learn something new, and I get to meet new people, and it's an amazing county, and I get to represent it with John Katko. So we share the county, but I've learned a lot, and I would say probably one of my most profound experiences was actually in the last couple of weeks. I had a chance to travel to Oswego County to help award a Purple Heart to a World War II veteran. Who was in the Navy, and it was in front of his family and at the local VFW, and he was just you could see on his face how important it was and how profound an experience it was for him to receive that Purple Heart, that great honor. and you know, it's just, it reminds you about, you know, there's a reason why that generation was called the greatest generation, because, you know, this was a man who had left high school to go join the Navy because he wanted to serve his country. And that's, you know, that's what I see. One of the greatest things about Oswego County is really the sense of patriotism, the sense of duty, the sense of sacrifice. And I see that all across the county. You know, we did a town hall up in Pulaski last year, and it was a great event for me. I do town halls in each of the 8 counties that I represent, and I go to every area. I don't care if it's the bluest area, the reddest area, it doesn't matter to me. I want to hear from all the people. And we had a great town hall there in Pulaski last year. We've been doing more telephone town halls since COVID, but I'm looking forward to getting back to doing another town hall. And then, you know, just the, you know, one of the ongoing things that I've been working on with Mr. Kako is actually the flooding along the shore, you know, trying to hold the IJC accountable and do the right thing by the people and the businesses that have been flooded out, you know, a couple times in the last few years. You know, that's something that we're not going to take our eye off the ball on. And although we dodged a bullet this year, we can't take our eye off of it, because Mother Nature is always creeping around the corner.
That's for sure. Thank you very much.
Next, we have our Midstate president, Tom Hingher, who's from CSEA, and you both represent working families in Cortland County. Tom?
Yes, thank you. What are the prospects of an infrastructure bill in the next Congress, and what do you anticipate being done to help Cortland and Central New York at large?
Well, that's a great question, Tom. I always say this is the #1 issue that the next administration has to tackle is an infrastructure package. You know, we all see the conditions of our roads and our bridges and our water and sewer systems. You know, in a county like Cortland, where you have rural parts, the issue of broadband and high-speed internet access is a huge problem. It is really across the entire district, whether you're in Oswego, Broome, Cortland, doesn't matter. We all have rural parts of our counties that are underserved in terms of broadband. So a big piece of the next infrastructure package, in my opinion, has to be investments in high-speed internet, because we're seeing now, especially with COVID, people working from home or kids learning from home. If you don't have a good high-speed internet connection, then you're certainly not going to be able to perform to the way you need to perform to do your work. So, you know, an infrastructure package, I think, is going to create a lot of good jobs, union jobs, and we're going to help rebuild this country, which is long overdue. We're falling behind the rest of the world. I want, you know, Mike and those laborers out there on the job, making our roads and our bridges and our sewer systems and everything. And I think we can really benefit here in this district by some massive investment in infrastructure in all 8 counties across the 22nd.
Thank you.
Thank you. And next and last, we have the 4th county that's in your district is Madison County. Of our region is Madison County. And we have the president of the Greater Syracuse Labor Council, President Mark Spadafore, who hails from 1199 SEIU.
Thank you, Anne Marie, and thank you, Congressman, for making time tonight. You know, the economy in this area was so dependent on manufacturing for so many years, and a lot of those manufacturers left for, you know, to go to foreign shores. What would you do to ensure that manufacturing makes a comeback in this area?
Well, I'll tell you what I've done and what I want to do going forward here. So one of the bills that I got signed into law by President Trump was to require our Department of Defense to purchase American-made flatware. It's called the Spoons Act. It had been tried in the past. We actually took up the bill. I made it bipartisan. I got a Republican colleague of mine to sponsor it. We got it over the finish line, and we got it signed into law. So now the military has to buy American-made flatware. Sherrill, New York is the only, and Sherrill Manufacturing is the only company in the country that makes it. So, you know, it's going to help create jobs here and bring jobs back from places like China. We got to build off of that. We got to start making things in this country again. And one of the things that I've done is I've introduced legislation, a bipartisan bill called the Made in America Emergency Preparedness Act. What we saw during COVID is shortages of PPE for our healthcare workers, and for all sectors of our economy and society, because most of this stuff is made overseas in China. China is our #1 adversary. I sit on the Armed Services Committee, and we get briefings all the time about what a threat China is. Why are we relying on them for all this equipment, which is necessary during a national emergency? You know, imagine, God forbid, we were at war with China, what they can do. They could literally shut down our economy because so much is made over there right now. So this bill that I've introduced would require our federal agencies like the Department of Defense, like Homeland Security, the CDC, NIH, other federal agencies that are on the front line fighting pandemics and national emergencies. It would require them to purchase medical supplies and PPE and pharmaceuticals from companies that are manufacturing here in this country. One, that lessens our dependence on China. And number two, it creates good paying jobs right here. I want our tax dollars going to support American manufacturing, not some company over in China doing the manufacturing over there. So I think upstate New York is in a really good position, given our workforce here, to be able to capitalize on those kinds of jobs. One quick story I'll tell you, there's a company here in Oneida County that there's a commercial now where I'm actually featuring the owner of the company in one of my commercials, but basically it's a medical supply company. And, you know, in the height of the pandemic, when, you know, New York City needed all these medical gowns to supply their healthcare workers, and they needed PPE, the owner of the company reached out to me, and I made a call to the governor's office and said, you got companies right here in this state that are making this stuff. They just need your attention and your help scaling up so they can produce more of it. State stepped in. They gave him some help to scale up his production. He moved into a new facility, hired more workers, and they were able to make that PPE right here in New York and supply New York City healthcare workers and healthcare workers all over the state. That's what we got to do more of. You know, I want to see our tax dollars being spent here, not going overseas.
Well, with that close, what more can I say? But thank you so much for your support over the last several years. You really made our name known in Washington. I know Central New York was never left out because you were there representing us. We were very proud to support you the first time. We're even prouder to support you this time. It was unanimous vote. We didn't have to convince anyone. And now we're getting all our members out to vote and make sure they put that check mark right next to your name, because you represent the values of labor. And that's why we represent. That's why we want you to represent us, and we support you. So what more can I say but thank you. Thank you for your time tonight, and thank you for your service.
Thank you, Anne Marie, and thank you to Organized Labor. I want the next 4 years to be the most pro-labor 4 years in the history of this country. We got to make a comeback here, and whether it's healthcare, whether it's safety, whether it's pensions, I want to see organized labor and the men and women in organized labor thrive under this economy. You guys are the backbone, so thank you.
Well, as our team leader, I know you'll pull us across the finish line and get those projects underway. Thank you and good luck.
Thank you all.
Good night, everybody. Goodbye.
Good night.